Welcome to tonight's Sex and Intimacy Foundations for Professional Practice um, information session about this upcoming new course. We have Beth Hankes here tonight, and we are she's the course developer and instructor, and we're going to talk about this new professional certificate tonight. And I just want to make note that this is recorded. And so this will be sent to those who are here tonight and to those who registered and couldn't make it, and then also be on the website. A few other notes. Nobody else who is in attendance today is being recorded. The chat function is turned off, and so there's just a question and answer box. So any questions you have while we're going over this, please enter that into the to the question box, and Lauren, who is off camera, can answer some of the basic questions that you could gather from our website that we'll give you. And then we can also have Beth answer them live during and after this presentation. So we're going to welcome and learn a little bit about Beth, an AASECT-certified sex educator, and she'll tell us more about what AASECT is and what that means to be a sex educator. We're going to talk about the Sex and Intimacy Foundations for Professional Practice certificate that is launching next month. We're going to talk about who are some prospective students for this course and go over some frequently asked questions, and then have time for open questions that others have. So I'm going to hand it over to Beth right now to introduce herself and then introduce this course that she created.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. So glad to have done this class. I'm very, very excited about the topic in general. And a little background about myself. So I'm the founder and CEO of Earth and Salt. It is a modern adult store here in Burlington, Vermont. We're very pleasure centered. We try to be very progressive in our goals with folks. And our interest is really just meeting people where they are, providing them with a wonderful experience, and helping support them wherever they are in their sexual journey. I am also an AASECT-certified sex educator. So AASECT is probably the highest licensing body, certifying body in the US. It stands for American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists. Some of you yourself may either be trying to get certified for that, recertified, or interested in that, and you'll be able to use this program towards all of your credits. And that was a 200-hour program for me, so I've done a lot of training in this, covered a lot of different topics. It's very exciting and wonderful for me. It gives me a whole different world view into humanity and our fellow folks around us. So I hope this is really useful for you. I hope you learn a lot too that I both bring to my clients as a coach, which is the third one there. But yeah, I've been coaching for 2 years now, had the store for 5 years. Every day I'm talking to people about their sexuality and their health. And it's been really exciting, really eye-opening, and I hope to bring you some of that through this course.
Great, thank you, Beth. And yeah, if you could tell us a little bit more now about why we wanted to create this course at the University of Vermont. And we can acknowledge that there are the sounds of children in the background, which is also a very normal and positive thing.
Yes, yeah. And to that point, so my ASEC training was almost all asynchronous, almost all done online. I have done this type of work. I've been through it myself. And so I'm trying to give you the best version of that because I've been through it. I've been through the ugly as well as the positive. So hopefully this is a very engaging course for you and gives you time, right? Because the kids outside of my door and probably kids and other demands in your life. So hopefully this is really engaging and keeps you really interested, gives you the information you need, and you can move through it in a really, exciting, profound way and learn a lot of things. So my goal here really is for health practitioners to be taking this class. I want you to come out of it being able to be a sex positive resource for the clients that you're seeing, the patients that you're seeing, provide them with that experience of being affirmed, normalized, and know that they're okay, because that's one of the biggest things that we end up talking to people about. Am I okay? Are my interests okay? you'll have that information at the end of this to help them decide if that's true or not. You're going to be supporting people and their sex lives, which is just so crucial. It's a part of everyone's life, no matter what they're doing, their age, their interests, their identities, and being able to support folks is a profound thing. Most of you hopefully are here because you are in that area already. You're already doing things like that. And the more you can do it and the more you can bring them research backed, science based information, the better you'll be at your job and the more you'll be able to help them. So, very similar to the third point there. And yeah, creating a practice that works and aligns with your values. Hopefully, you'll find this very affirming too. It's an interesting process because you'll also probably be a little bit challenged by some of the things, but that's only going to make you better in your practice, figure out where your edges are, figure out where you want to learn more, and use this as a great both foundation for yourself, but also jumping off point.
Great, thanks, Beth. So, this next slide, we're going to kind of talk about like learning outcomes, what students can expect after they go through this 4-week online course. And just to summarize what I just heard you say is that this course is for those who are in health and wellness professions with treating individuals with for whom sex is a part of their lives, right? And so anyone who wants to help with the care of, or have patients or clients who are coming to them for care, and to just be informed in how to provide listening or advice or tactics for giving a sex positive, a positive affirmation, and helpful response for their clients and patients. And so, yeah, if you can tell us more about then what are some of the specific types of skills that people will get and be able to address for their clients and patients after completing the course.
Exactly. Yeah, my interest in this is that when you leave the course, you'll have sort of the same foundation that I'm pulling from every day in the work that I'm doing. So there's different frameworks we're going to be looking at, different models, different understandings, and we go from the basic to hopefully the profound. We cover a really broad spectrum within just a 4-week time period. That's intentional. My hope is that you're able to draw from all of those things. You're going to have different clients and patients who are bringing such different things to you. You really do need a rather broad foundation just to even begin starting to bring this into your work or to build on the work that you're already doing. So as you know, it sort of says in the first one, that evidence-based, right? We're using research, we're relying on the latest and greatest that we have. Sex education and sex research is still relatively new and nascent, and that's both exciting, but that also means there's a lot to be learned for all of us, just even in this work, much less the folks that we're going to be working with. For the second bullet, desire, arousal, libido, these are all the words that we hear all the time, right? This is the language you're going to be dealing with. How do we understand that? Do we have accuracy around that? How can we help better inform our clients around the language they're using, generate better understanding between ourselves and then them, their partners, and whoever else they're in relationship with. And I do like to take a broad view. I want to bring in the individual and societal factors. It's so important. If you're treating someone with vaginal pain, any sort of pain, any sort of, physical thing, there will likely be, some sort of social aspect to that too. So we're going to start looking at the interplay of things so that you can draw on that, help people, be treated in a more holistic manner. And then sex and stress is one of my favorite topics. It's crucial to understand. It's impacting almost all of us at this point, any version of stress. So it's important to have that also in our foundation. And it helps us understand other components of sex and sexual function as well. So it's a lot of exciting topics. And again, hopefully by the end of it, you can just start using this immediately in your practice and have a lot of information to both help people with and have a better understanding with for yourself.
Great. Yeah, it's so fascinating, and we're so lucky to have you and your expertise it to build and guide this course. Tell us a little bit more about some of the. So here are some of the occupations that some prospective students may have. So tell us, why this course will be useful for those seeking or in these professions.
Of course. So it's very much built specifically towards health practitioners. It's not a general class that then can be used. Everything I wrote, everything that I brought forward is with a health practitioner in mind. And hopefully, therapists and counselors come to mind because that's a lot of who I'm working with. And we're just very related types of work. And a lot of times therapists are dealing with this, counselors are dealing with this, but they haven't had the training. My hope is this gives you the training that you might feel like you're missing so you can start working with your clients and patients in a way that feels more authentic and gives you more power with them and more information to give them. For the rest of the folks, the physicians and nurses, again, I hear all the time that the amount of training giving towards sex and the body in medical training classes is not a lot. It's not very in depth. And that's really unfortunate, right? Because people are going to be coming to you and they're going to have questions.
Mhm.
You might be the first person that they've talked to. So, how do you have a little bit of more information so that you can help guide them well? Physical therapists, again, you're working with the body, but you're also working with people's minds, helping train them. Sex educators and coaches, we're in the same job. How do you get that information? How do you start developing your expertise? And wellness professionals, it's a broad range of folks. Again, sex is not a silo at all, and it's all parts of our life are part of it, affected by it, and then cause effect in our life. So it's important to have this foundational information. It changes lives, and I think it can really be a profound addition for people's practice.
And for clarification, after at the conclusion of this course, one does not be you are not certified to be a sex therapist or a sex counselor. And so this is the kind of overview of the course. And so it's important to note that this is a non-credit course through the University of Vermont through professional and continuing education, and you get a certificate of for a professional certificate of completion. And so some of the things that are outlined here you can find on the website noted on the bottom. 100% online, 4 weeks, starts at the end of April, so it's important to register by the 20th. We have our tuition there. Like I said, you get a professional certificate. And I also want to draw some attention to the continuing education credits. You receive both from professional and continuing education or PACE at University of Vermont. And this also is accredited through AASECT. So Beth, can you tell us a little bit about what that means and who for whom will that be most important? So you won't be a certified, sex advisor or other type of sex and intimacy coach, any of those things. However, this is learning that can count towards one's other professional development in this realm.
Exactly, yeah. So if you're someone who's looking at getting AASECT certified or already are, these are the credits that you're going to want. They will be useful to you as you sort of accumulate those towards either, again, getting your initial certification or getting recertified. As far as we can tell from right now, it's about 20 credits. We will have the most up-to-date information on the website, and so you can apply that towards either of those certifications, either initial or then your recertification. And I'm glad to answer any questions on that if folks have more info, but AASECT, it's going to be pretty straightforward with the credits. So yeah, glad to answer any other questions on that though.
And so, is that a potential path that a student could take? Meaning, perhaps they're interested in how to talk about sex and intimacy in their professional practice. They take this course, but then they want to seek more in this topic. Does that make sense? Does that seem like a path that someone could take and
Oh,
then they could
absolutely.
use these credits, apply them towards getting like a certification so
Yeah.
that they could specialize in this?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on your profession and what skill sets you're looking to build, you could use these towards getting AASECT certified. You certainly don't have to. AASECT, again, is for folks who want to become professionally certified in either sex education, sex counseling, or sex therapy. It's pretty specific. There are individual tracks for all three of those and different certification or, credit levels that you need for each of those. AASECT has a great outline on their website, but this can absolutely be a beginning of your progress towards that, and then you can sort of figure out what other credits you need to fill in the gaps from there. But it's great whether you want to get certified or not. It can just be this continuing education experience. You don't have to certainly be looking to be certified to find this useful.
Right. Yeah. And if you are in a different wellness profession, and you could also use the continuing education units that you get from UVM to apply that towards some of the requirements that people have for different professions. So now we're going to talk about some frequently asked questions, um, and kind of go over what online courses look like. And then we're going to see if there are any remaining questions from the live audience. So Beth, if you wouldn't mind to first just describe like what a typical week in the course is like. What could a new online student expect for what type of work? And is there a schedule type of questions for a
Yeah.
typical week?
Yeah, so the way most of each week is its own module, so it's going to be a certain topic that we're covering, and then within that week you're going to find a mix of different content that you're going to be interacting with. Some are a little bit more lecture heavy weeks than others, but they're very short lectures. They're built to be very easy for you to move through. Some weeks will have reading, some will have other types of media you're going to engage with. I also tried to make this course very much it's like choose your own adventure because it's such a large topic. I want you to
Mm.
be able to choose what is most valuable to you. So you'll be able to pick and choose some of the content that you're doing as well. So you'll do a lot of content up front, get a lot of learning in, then we'll start applying it. So we'll usually have a discussion on our discussion board. So that's a way you can sort of interact with me, interact with other people in the class, share your learning, start applying this immediately, right? I want this to be very useful and pragmatic for you, very practical. And then at the end of each week, I'll have you do a little bit of a longer writing, but it's all about applying it to what you're already doing. There's a couple quizzes in there, but again, I want this to be extremely useful to you. It's not a matter of like you absolutely have it or you absolutely don't. I want to see that you're finding ways to start using this. So that's the general outline of most of the weeks that we're going to be doing.
Are there any live sessions? There's the course is um, asynchronous, and sometimes people can be confused about that. That means it's not happening all at the same time live, but are there any time requirements that people, have to be on at a certain time or a day?
Right. Yeah. So there's nothing in the course content that's live. So again, we built it where each week is sort of its own contained thing. So it is asynchronous in that you can do that week anytime that you want to. But it is useful to sort of imagine like, okay, I'm going to be spending about 7 to 10 hours this week on this sort of singular bit of content. Let me schedule myself around that. So we won't have live sessions that you have to call into. We will hopefully have office hours where I'll be available to you. I would love to talk with you. Use me to figure out like how do I apply this? What questions do you have? This is brand new information. Wow, my mind's blown, hopefully. So you can chat with me, ask your questions, interact with some of the others in the class. But outside of that, otherwise it's going to be you taking care of the information when you need to.
Great, thank you. And so, like you said, no set times. Um, you said about 7 to 5 or 7 to 10 hours a student can expect to spend. And so that includes some of the lecture or videos or
Right.
writing, reading,
That should
and
include everything. Yeah.
yeah. And so divvying up, I like how you said how, students' responsibility is how you want to chop that up during the week. And so sometimes creating a schedule for one's week like that can be helpful. And you also mentioned an office hours. What other ways do students interact, or can they interact with you and each other? Because it is a cohort, right? And that one class, 25, 20 or so students enroll, and they are engaging in these weeks,
Mhm.
going through them together.
Right, yeah. So our discussion space is going to be the primary way that we're talking to each other. Again, you'll have a discussion prompt each week that's set up, and part of that is then going back and reading what each other said and replying to each other. Hopefully, again, this is just helping you build your information base, getting you to learn from others who are doing slightly different work that still impacts your own work. So it should be really fascinating to see how different people are applying all of this great information to what they're doing. So you'll get to interact with each other there. That space will be live. So hopefully lots of interactions can happen there. I'll be on there. I'll be talking with you there. We'll do the office hours, and then even the papers that I'll have you do or the writing that we do at the end of each week, that is in a way an interaction with me because it's not so much let me prove to you what I learned, it's here's how I'm applying this. And that's really both interesting to me, but that's a way of
Mhm.
interacting with me too, of just like, where do I have questions? How do I apply this? And we can sort of talk through that as well, and figure out how to make this all work for you and the work you're already doing.
I love that you pointed that out about how am I, or how are you applying this, or how am I applying this? Because that is really the root of what the professional education, the goal really is. And like you said, not that you're proving to this instructor, anything that you've memorized or learned something, so much as you are adopting some of what you've learned into your practice so that you're able to grow or to improve the lives of people around you. So another one about uh, because students may be coming to you from different levels of experience with online courses. So for someone who maybe hasn't or it's been a long time, just broadly, kind of how do online courses work?
Yeah. So we're going to use a single platform that will be within. It's called Brightspace. I've seen the class in there already, and hopefully it's pretty easy to go through. So every single thing that you need to do is in its own sort of built-in space, and it's a very clear agenda of the things that you're going to be going through. And again, it is asynchronous, so as you have time, as it fits into your work and life schedule, you'll go in, you'll take care of whatever you can at that piece of time, and just slowly work through these agenda items. So you can see the full layout of the week ahead of time, get a sense for what you're going to be doing, make your plans, and then dive in as you need to. And then, yeah, if you have any questions about that, I'll be available to you. We can talk about the content, but we can also get you help if you have any issues with the actual space itself.
And then oh, I'm sorry, there was something else that you just said. Oh, that I wanted to just point out also about Brightspace. So this is a website, right? It's not as if it's something that students don't have to buy anything, download anything. This is all online, so online access. What about, are there any books? Are there any required books? I'm just throwing that
Yeah,
question out
yeah,
there.
no,
So
it's a good
that's what I
question.
thought.
There's no additional content or books or resources that you need to
Mhm.
buy through this. We specifically built it so everything's already accessible for free online. So your payment into the class, that's the only payment that you have to make. Everything else is included.
Great. And then what will I receive at the completion of the course?
Yeah, so you're going to get a professional certificate, specifically from UVM, but then you do get those credits if you are interested in applying. I should have mentioned about the ASECT. If you want ASECT credit, we'll find out that from you at the start. It will just require you doing a survey at the end that has some additional information. The survey is going to be sent to everyone, so hopefully you'll do it anyways. But that is how you get that actual credit. And then, yeah, you'll get your online certification of completion, and you can share that digitally, or you can print it and use it from there.
Thank you, Beth. This is our final slide before we say goodbye, and it's just a your questions opportunity for any live questions. I haven't seen any that have come through for live, so I don't see any coming through, but I will also go to this slide, which is important to leave you with our website that you can go to for hopefully any questions that you may have for registering for the course, for finding also, our chat app or learn at uvm.edu, which is our email address. Any types of questions or help that is needed, one should be able to find on our website. And I'm just going to say thank you one more time to Beth. Beth, it has been such an honor to work with you, and to have you create this course for the University of Vermont. And I'm really excited for everyone to be able to take it next month. So thanks again for your time tonight, and hope to see you for Sex and Intimacy Foundations for Professional Practice at the University of Vermont, April 2026. Thank you.